Hello, everyone. Can you hear me well? Excellent. Okay. Just a little introduction before diving more deeply into the topic of how blockchain promotes financial inclusivity. I'm Vilma. I have been in the blockchain space for the past 8 years. And why I ended up in the space is because I wanted to help people. I come from a legal background, and impacting people as well as helping people that are in underprivileged situations always caught my attention. And in 2014, I rediscovered of how blockchain technology could impact the lives of people around the world. And what do we mean when we say blockchain promoting financial inclusivity? Believe it or not, right now there is 1 billion people in the world that don't have a digital identity, that don't have identity as a passport, as a physical identity, and therefore are unbanked, so don't have access to financial ecosystem at all. Therefore, they cannot get credit, they cannot be financially included, or even, for example, verify that they are the owner of the land that they own. Therefore, these individuals cannot get access to any type of financial instrument that would require KYC or verification of the ownership of their assets that they have. As we well know, there is almost 8 billion people right now in the world. So this is around 15% of the whole population worldwide that don't have access to financial ecosystems. Therefore, this promotes a very, very expensive as well as high growth potential for ventures to invest in terms of promoting financial inclusivity to all of these people who don't have access to basic needs. From right now, if we look at the banking, we have had multiple neobank unicorns, we have TechFin, FinTech. However, what has mostly been adopting at the fastest rate in the third world countries is mostly blockchain. At Vietnam, we have plus 800% growth of blockchain technology. In Philippines, Indonesia, we have 600% growth of blockchain technology implementation. And in countries such as, for example, Nigeria, Kenya, Tanzania, we have an growth rates of up to 1,000% on blockchain solutions integration to mostly identity, mostly the government, and banking, as well as custodians and transferring of assets between countries. So where is the opportunity for investment here? Mostly in the infrastructural level. You might ask why aren't the banks solving the problem of what blockchain is right now doing? Due to the fact that if you start building infrastructure in the African continent, it's of course very costly due to the geographical conditions, as well as lack of traditional infrastructure in moving hardware or items. Therefore, blockchain comes as a solution where every party can be their own bank, can own their identity, can own their identify and create for themselves accounts, can open their own custodian service for themselves, as well as take loans without any third party. So I'm co-founder of FIRE, which is 5IRE. And what we do in terms of promoting blockchain and adoption and inclusivity is we work with United Nations SDGs, first of all, to end poverty, secondly, promote economic inclusivity, and thirdly, promote technological accessibility. Because as we all of us know here in the venture community, the most expensive problems in terms of technological solutions are, first of all, infrastructural layer, Secondly, accessibility to the technology due to either a lack of knowledge or either technical tools to access the knowledge. Therefore, at 5IRE.org, what we do is we promote the moving from fourth industrial revolution to fifth industrial revolution. What does that mean? Industry 5.0s are the kind of technologies that promote, first of all, the transferring from for profit to for profit and benefit. All of us here are mostly impact investors. We invest in purposes that are close to our heart. We invest in causes that we can resonate with. Therefore, by promoving the words paradigm from for profit to for benefit, what we obtain is at the same time, for example, Fortune 500s taking actions that promote economic growth, but also taking responsibility of their actions towards a greener future. In this case, for example, at 5IRE, the way of promoting financial inclusivity is first of all, as an example, some of our clients are Booking.com, some of our clients are Unilever, Huawei. What do we do for them? We host their data on blockchain, because right now the data is hosted in data centers around the world. And why it's better to be hosted in a decentralized manner? Let's imagine that we identify an individual in the Philippines who is earning right now under the minimum salary, which in this case would be under $300-400. So there are plus 30 countries in the world who have a medium salary of under $400, meaning that their government, first of all, don't have financial resources to provide them identity, and secondly, the government don't have financial resources to provide them banking, and therefore they are unidentified citizens. So what we do in blockchain is we take the data of Fortune 500s, we enable a mobile application which is decentralized. I will explain what does that means and how does it help our community here, to have to download the application. And while you download an application, you get pieces, parts of the data encrypted, or for example, in this case, Booking.com. You get access to Booking.com's data, and when you host the Booking.com's data, and millions of people around the world host it, first of all, of course, Booking.com cybersecurity risk decreases because all of the data is not in the same place. Secondly, their cost decrease because people around the world are hosting the data and they are not paying for data centers. And thirdly, the speed of access to data increases because it's very near. You can access to data from Singapore to the Singapore hoster, or for example, Philippines to Philippine hoster, rather than go through Amazon Web Service and wait for the data to be accessible through Internet, Web 2.0. Therefore, what we accomplish with this is financial inclusivity to plus 600 people worldwide. Why? Because these people just need to download the application to get rewards for Fortune 500s taking a good action. What does this mean? So these people are called validators of the block because they host the data of the blockchain, and therefore they are participating in making the network secure, and therefore the enterprises pay them to host data, and instead of them getting a salary from the government, they get directly salary from, for example, Fortune 500s. This improves the economic conditions of people from plus 40 countries directly, as well as gives enterprises and SMEs a way to, first of all, get more accurate governing data from part of their clients, because the clients will vote on decisions that the enterprises propose them in the application, while the clients themselves get brand awareness and get more close to the brands that they use, and at the same time they get directly paid. Because right now, how does the Web 2 works? The Web 2 is where we are currently, and the Web 3 is the web driven by blockchain. So I will still, in a few minutes, explain more investment opportunities as well as expensive problems in the blockchain industry. But one of them is this, which is one of the most expensive, is how to distribute the revenue made currently from multinationals such as, for example, Google, Facebook, on data selling to in a decentralized web of everyone of owning their proprietary data and getting paid for that. So right now, blockchain is already enabling it. United Nations Development Bank is involved in this initiative, as well as Huawei is taking strong approach in Asia Pacific, as well as the previous mentioned entities. We have a partnership with the government of India, where we have 200 million people's pilot program. What do we do to these people? We provide these people an identity, because there is 200 million people in India that don't have identity, and they also don't have access to banking. So from a venture perspective, you can just imagine how much economic opportunities and growth opportunities that presents for your venture, as well as how big the growth potential is when we are moving from Web 2 to Web 3. Overall, if you consider the fact that Web 3 is still in its early phases, the most lucrative initiatives or projects to invest right now are, of course, in the infrastructural level, like you would consider when we started Web 2. There was, first of all, there was an email, then came Amazon, then came any type of platform type of economies where people can build on top on and then participate. So how would I explain for anyone looking to benefit from Web 3? I would say that Web 2 is a semantic web based on textual context, and Web 3 is an interactive web. What does that mean? It means that you can not just access information, but make instant payment by being anonymously public. What does public anonymity mean? It means that your computer know if you are the right person to take this action or not. It's conditional. If this, then that, because of your track record on the blockchain, but it doesn't know who you are. How does that benefit us? For example, let's think about healthcare, let's think about data storing, let's think about assets or collectibles or real estate assets, etc. What we would need to see is that how can we actually move from not just typing but interacting. So in Web3, what you have is that you have your hash or own code in the Web3 that is trackable between devices, and you can interact with that code. And assuming that there's a restriction of someone being over 18 years old, and you are 18 years old, the program will know conditionally if this then that to let you go inside of the program to use the function. For example, in one of the world's biggest cybersecurity attacks happened in 2006, which was from Russia to Estonia. And then since 2012, Estonia has had all of the government's records on blockchain. Why is that very important? Because you will not need any government administration to hold your records, to approve functions such as, for example, purchasing medicine in the pharmacy. You don't need to ask from if this person is capable of, for example, signing this document, purchasing this property, etc. Because in the public blockchain network, the smart contract, so self-executing contract in the internet, will know if you are available to take this action or not. What does this mean? For example, it's as simple as pressing enter on Messenger. If you are a friend of a person, you can message them, and if you are not, you cannot. So that's a smart contract. It has condition. If this condition is met, you can take the action, and if it's not met, then you cannot take the action. So in this case, what it means is that there will be a lot of investment opportunities as well as growth in decentralized identity, which promotes financial inclusivity because people will be able to transfer their money and use their assets in more agile manner, because right now it could be that they have either their assets intangible or they are physical assets that are not recognized, or they are in cash, or they are in gold. However, if you have a digital identity, you will be able to have an authority to action anywhere in the internet. And what does mean self-sovereign identity? It means that if the conditions are met, you can take these actions. For example, one of the very profitable niches in what that promotes financial inclusivity in the blockchain space is self-granting of loans. Why is this very important? It's very important because let's say that there is a pool. Normally in blockchain, people put assets in a pool, and other people anonymously can take against 50% collateral, 50% loan of the collateral they deposited without asking anything from anyone. I can right now go to a website, I deposit, let's say, 200,000, and I get 100,000 against the 200,000. Who is the intermediary? It's all peer-to-peer because it's blockchain transaction based. So this, of course, creates opportunities in the retail market, but also in the enterprise markets, due to the fact that enterprise loans can be provided even by individuals. Let's say we 5 venture funds get together and they pool money in assets in a decentralized pool. Any entity can take a loan instantly from that pool and access to liquid assets without doing any type of transaction such as KYC, any type of transaction, because it's if you meet this condition, then you are available to take this action. So in addition to what I already mentioned, which are digital identity as well as e-governance, in blockchain, we have file storing, which means that instead of storing and paying to Amazon or paying to, for example, Microsoft or cloud services, what we interact on blockchain with is having our files encrypted on the chain itself, meaning that if I wish to transfer these files between anyone, I can directly send it to you to your blockchain address. So blockchain address can nowadays, for example, we at 5IRE, we promote address such as your name, or we promote an address such as just your phone number, and that's your address. And you can send there anything. You can send it to your phone number cryptocurrencies or currencies or files or images or videos. Why? Because it's on blockchain and the data is on blockchain. Why can I send to a phone number other things than calling? Because telco network, of course, is based on instant messaging or voicemail. However, blockchain is based on cryptography, and it means that we can host encrypted files on a chain itself and enable peer-to-peer markets between any party that we are interacting with and ourselves. Without any intermediary. Therefore, there's a big opportunity in terms of inclusivity of citizens as well as in terms of venture fund growth in the mobile numbers being not that necessary. If you think right now we are speaking on Zoom or we are speaking on Google Meetups. We are not really using phone numbers for other purposes than two-factor authentication. Therefore, telco companies have a big challenge on the phone numbers becoming irrelevant. Therefore, that's a very expensive problem to solve, as well as it promotes financial inclusivity directly due to the fact that your phone number can be your bank if you are using blockchain. Why? Because in blockchain, we don't need to exactly know who is the passport person behind you. We need to know if you are legally liable, able to take this action or no. So it's conditional. And I just wanted to also mention some things. A fourth aspect of how blockchain promotes financial inclusivity is that right now Web 2.0 is of course hosted in servers of, for example, NASA, US military, as well as the inventors of World Wide Web and a few other corporations. But think about humans, all of us, hosting the servers of Web3, which is currently already happening. Therefore, www.com is a layer of web which is based on IP DNS services, top-level domains, and it's of course an invented concept. So right now, in terms of benefiting 8 billion people worldwide, it's not directly benefiting people around the world. But if each of the persons hosts parts of the internet, first of all, internet becomes more secure. Secondly, internet becomes more faster. Thirdly, the internet becomes, of course, more cheaper. And fourthly, internet becomes more accessible, and you get rewarded by hosting piece of internet server in, for example, your mobile device, in your computer. And what does that mean, hosting a piece of server? It's a node, it's a piece of data that validates with other data points that people are accessing to the internet. So, for example, in our company 5ire.org, what we have done is we do host our own World Wide Webs, meaning that we own servers. How is this beneficial, for example, from a political perspective, or, for example, from a perspective of financial inclusivity? It's very beneficial due to the fact that anyone around the world can start earning rewards and can start earning money by hosting parts of the data. Then now you might be asking, who is paying me? Who is paying? So every person using it, like right now you are paying it to your internet provider. So instead of me paying to internet provider, I would be paying to any of you here. And that's the fourth point I wanted to highlight in this speech. Other than that, how does blockchain promote financial inclusivity is fifth point, I would like to mention the fact of despite of people don't having identity, despite of people don't having that much technical knowledge, what they always have is a phone. Therefore, all of these previously mentioned actions can be taken directly from their phone, and they don't need any type of specific knowledge. They don't need any type of specific understanding of blockchain. And most of the blockchain, as mentioned before, smart contract actions are self-executing, meaning that you don't necessarily need to do anything by yourself. It happens without you even taking the action, because if the condition has met, then it happens. Therefore, for example, let's say you have now 30 applications in your phone. If those applications were on blockchain, you would get paid from 30 different sources for having those applications in your phone. That's how blockchain promotes financial inclusivity. And I still just wanted to conclude that anyone who hasn't yet been involved with Web3, you can either contact with me and come discussing how we can make a better place together, or how we can collaborate in terms of building solutions that directly impact anyone around the world in remote places where there's no infrastructure, or in individuals that are underprivileged, or individuals that don't have currently access to financial ecosystem, or even state funds, even illiquid money that used in other format could benefit not just the stakeholders but the humanity as a whole. For example, just a last example, Norwegian state fund is involved in blockchain technology to be able to provide resources for the nation's citizens themselves. Therefore, in terms of, in exchange of, for example, social security, there can be frameworks such as blockchain that facilitate the redistribution as well as economical rewarding directly to the citizen without any bureaucracy, without any administration, and by being publicly anonymous. And of course, that promotes peace. And at the eyes of conflict of Ukraine, I just still wanted to mention that transparency, collaborating between humans, as well as participating in a network as a whole and being rewarded by doing good, is of course against war and conflict, because when everyone has skin in the game, we are all in the same line. So ending up today here, and please let me know if you have any questions, or please contact me on LinkedIn or in 5ire.org, and I'm very happy to reply to any questions, and let's make this world a better, more inclusive place together. Thank you.